Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Let's start with your name and what you do for Bamasaba.
I'm called Stephen Masiga, and I'm the spokesperson of the Bamasaba Cultural Institution. I welcome you to Mbale, or to Bugisu region, Ms. Arafat and your team from NTV. Thank you for paying courtesy and interesting yourselves in issues that affect our people here, yes.
Thank you very much for welcoming us.
Yes.
We've also enjoyed the place, the area.
Yes.
But the purpose for your interview is one, the split, the wrangles that have dwindled the Bamasaba land and the Bamasaba clan and leadership. First, give us a glimpse of the history. Where does this spring from? For the person who doesn't know exactly what we're talking about, or who's hearing it for the first time.
To newcomers to the wrangles, which we have already resolved, we're about to resolve, is this. This is the Constitution of Uganda. Allow me to commend or thank the Uganda Law Reform Commission. The Uganda Law Reform Commission have ably translated our constitution, the Constitution of Uganda, into Bamasaba. Here, I can read, and I know you'll capture this vividly. Baranjilisi be bukuka namwe kiminyongo. Baranjilisi be bukuka namwe kiminyongo. Cultural leaders and their norms, or traditional and cultural what? Leaders. This is the which is the 246, the cultural leadership leaders in Uganda, traditional cultural leaders. So this is the version in Bamasaba. Now, this is basically almost the genesis of the conflicts we have around. We had the first cultural leader of Bamasaba in the 60s, from 64 up to 67, when the government abolished. So later on, government introduced the cultural system, revived the cultural leadership. And Bamasaba or Bugisu is among those cultural institutions that had been abolished, but now reintroduced with an enabling law, the Cultural Leaders Act, the Constitution of Uganda, Article 246, and now the Cultural Leaders Act as an operative law. Now the problem there is that in 2010, we elected the cultural leader here without an enabling framework. There was no government law. You are very much aware that government is a regulator. Government is a regulator of everything. I saw in some countries somebody was being arrested for going to the toilet without toilet paper. Government regulates on how you even go to a toilet. So now government comes up with a law to regulate and allow the operationalization of traditional and cultural what? Institutions. I recall very vividly in 2014 or thereabout, 2014, the Minister of Gender, then Honorable Mary Karolo Korot, degazetted all cultural leaders in Uganda because they were calling themselves, they had given themselves very amorphous titles. Colonel, Commander, His Highness. So the government said, no, this is very unacceptable. So they degazetted them and gazetted them with the proper titles. Here, when we got the Umukuka 1, from 210 to 215, there was no law. So they elected him using the Bamasaba Constitution. However, in 2011, the Cultural Leaders Act was enacted to now regulate. Now, when it was enacted, many Bamasaba refused to follow the Cultural Leaders Act. And they say for them, they only follow the Constitution, or rather the Constitution of Bamasaba. So the wrangles around Masaba land is again with this, the Constitution of Uganda. Are we following it? Are we following the Bamasaba Constitution? That's the genesis of it. So Umukuka 1 rules from 210 to 215. Then 215 to 220, we had another what? Cultural leader. Now, when we came to 220, the genesis, of course, previously there were some other conflicts, petty, internal rifts, they were there. But when it came to 220, That was now the gist of the whole rift. In 2020, a team left here and had a meeting in Kenya. Government challenged that one. Our Umukuka, who was dying on his deathbed in Nakasero, he wrote a letter to recommending somebody to be the Umukuka of Bamasaba.
But is it allowed in your constitution or even in that constitution?
It's not allowed. So when he even wrote to President Museveni, said, Your Excellency, he called him Yoweri, you know, they were friendly. He said, I have now appointed so and so as a cultural leader of what? Of Bamasaba. The president laughed and said, no. It's not how we do it. The Bamasaba themselves will determine. I actually said I will send my legal officer Kichoncho to guide. But he said it is the Bamasaba themselves. So that is the gist of the matter or the conflicts that you see around. So it eventually culminated into, of course, the Umukuka, current Umukuka who is here, after he was elected, he petitioned the government. He petitioned the government to move government or to compel government to have him gazetted using a writ of mandamus. Say, can you do your work? Are we there? Can you do your work on a gazette? Because he explained the processes, the clan chairman and other elders had elected him. Can you move and have me gazetted? Now, when that matter was put to her worship, the resident judge in Mbale, she referred the Umukuka back to what the law says. Again, it is here. It is here, Article 246, Clause 2, which says that when the elders are wrangling on who is the rightful what? Umukuka, isn't it?
Yes.
When they are wrangling on who is the rightful Umukuka, you use a formula which is seen in Article 246 of the Ugandan Constitution. And you'll allow me to explain, because sometimes not everybody could be at speed with the law. That article says that Parliament will provide a formula or a method on how to resolve disputes in the case somebody is elected and there's what? A dispute. Now that dispute is seen live in section 16, subsection 1 and 2 of the Cultural Leaders Act that says you go to the elders. Now the Minister of Gender, when she saw a lot of vibrations in Masabala, there was a lot of vibration. People pick, you know, our people are all like. There's a time they even defeated the government the other side. The others were saying we are going to pick spears, we are going to pick pangas, machetes, we shall fight on. So the government intervenes and writes to the Umukuka one, because by then we were still around, and said, please, can you sit down and mediate this conflict? And mediate this conflict and tell us who of these three, because there are now three claimants, who of these three is the rightful what? Umukuka of the Bamasaba people. They sat in that hall, that is in Bali District Hall, the one you are seeing there. They sat there, 26 clan chairmen, 25. There were 26, but one was elderly. Mzee Joseph Kutosi was ailing, his health was very poor, so he never came. So 25 came.
He didn't send even a representative?
No, he couldn't have proxies. We wouldn't. The law does not allow. So we registered about 99% attendance. They sat there, and after 12 hours, they each had to explain how it came about. So at the end of the day, they kind of put it like to a vote. So that, because you must tell who in your opinion were convinced that is what?
Right.
He was right. So they put to a vote, and 75% said no. We have examined properly all sides, the three sides. It is His Highness or Mr. Judy Mudoma who is the rightful what? Umukuka. And it was communicated to the Minister of Gender with very reasonable speed. And she gazetted within 1 week, because the gazetting was now following what the law has put in place. So that's how we resolve it. Now, thereabout after that resolution, another team, some of these fellows ran to court. When they rushed to court, they raised a number of petitions and grounds as to why they are uncomfortable with what happened. Now, Legally, they were supposed to have used the section 16 subsection 2, but for them they chose to merely rush to court. Recently, the Chief Justice of Uganda, and I want to thank the Chief Justice. NTV, I want you to tell the Chief Justice that Bamasaba are very happy. We send our appreciations for what he has done. We also want to thank Professor Kauka. He's the technical head of advisor to judiciary. They invited us and they input in the invitation letter that we want the spokesperson of the Bamasaba people to come to Munyonyo. So when I went to Munyonyo, of course there were other persons from government, from cultural institutions, a few cultural institutions. I put a case and I said that it was called alternative justice system, or what we call alternative dispute resolution mechanism. So they were training us, and I moved and I reported to them all these procedures that Bamasaba used to resolve the what? The impasse in the Bukuka. So when I made that presentation, including Mrs. Maude were there and others, the DPP, Jane Abodo, her worship, her lordship, she was there, Chief Justice was there, Deputy was there, and all these major justices. So when we made that, I made that presentation on behalf of the Bamasaba. I said, I move that the cases against the cultural institution be moved out of court into the community, into clan elders. If there's any issue, we resolve it from there. So recently, when the Deputy Chief Justice again came here in the Court of Appeal civil session, I was invited and I made a presentation before them. And in agreement, they agreed with me that indeed those matters in court must be resolved using mediation and not through normal court litigation, unless otherwise. So as I speak, I want to report to NTV that you have given us the platform to inform our people on what is happening here. I want to report that the court has heard us, judiciary has heard us, and I have now identified about 3-4 mediators. We are going to sit down with all these other teams that have been throwing some stones at us and what have you on the 6th.
How confident are you that the upcoming resolution is going to address what is dividing the Bamasaba people? Because if for 5 years there have been disputes that have also dispute resolution processes that have also involved government, but haven't yielded any results, to kind of condense the situation. How confident are you that now what you're doing is going to address the challenge, is the solution, the ultimate solution?
You have raised a very, very bright question. How confident am I? When I was in Munyonyo, let me use the experience. One of the judges who was training us is on the Supreme Court of Kenya. He raised 2 issues. He said courts decide cases. Courts decide what? Cases. But mediation resolve. In mediation, each. Somebody knows this is Masiga, this is Arafat, this is who. So mediation is, we are going to ensure that it's a negotiation. Mediation, we are going to waiver off rules. All court rules are going to be suspended so that we now talk as Bamasaba. We say, if we agree and say that we are Bamasaba, we are no longer Bugisu, isn't it? We are no longer an Inzu. Which one is the uniting name? If the people say we go by the name of Bamasaba, because it unites everybody, we shall say, we shall report to government that this mediation, this is what he has what? Recommended, that we become Bamasaba. That will be okay. If they say Inzu, and there's serious discussion and agreement, and assuming the legal framing or the Inzu has a sufficient legal standing, there will be no harm. We go with that. But the essence of this mediation is that we have a team of very experienced mediators. The chair of the mediator served as a deputy chief justice. Very impeccable mediators. We are going to sit to ensure that all these petty differences, because the conflict, as you have said, has been around for 15 years. In the conflict formation, we have what we call overt conflict. Overt is spilling, it spills into the community, you see it. You read the online and offline. But there is covert conflict. Now, in Umukuka 1, there were internal conflicts. His ministers challenging, writing memos, and what have you. Umukuka 2, they also attempted to have him impeached. And you are raising another issue that I need to bring to media is impeachment. There has been efforts by some Bamasaba to have Umukuka impeached. Umukuka 2. They sat down, some radicals or rebel ministers in his establishment. They sat down and said they are going to impeach him. So anybody across Uganda, because now we are speaking to Acholi, we are speaking to Buganda, we are speaking to Tooro, we are speaking to Bunyoro, we are Busoga, and Teso. We want to tell the world. I want to now speak as a lawyer this time, not as a spokesperson. Yes, we want to tell the world that impeachment is a political process, and therefore cannot be used on a cultural leader. A cultural leader is not elected. When you read the law, they don't say when they elect. They say when a community identifies. Now with identification, you determine what method.
So for the time that Wamukoka has taken power officially,
yes,
as you stated, from 2023 to the current date,
yes,
what has been achieved? What has the Bamasaba? How are you progressing? Are you just in wrangles, or there are some other initiatives that have taken ground for the government?
Thank you so very much for that. One, we have secured scholarships as a cultural institution, about 170 scholarships. This we have done so from certain universities, schools. We have written to these schools, two students. So the leadership here has written, and all those schools want to commend them, like Mbale SS, Mbale High. All these schools are around. Nakaro KCS, many Masabe SS and others. They have given us each 2 scholarships. We give them to needy students. Universities like Ibanda has given us scholarships. Livingstone, IU, Makerere University is not yet. When you meet your friend, the Vice Chancellor, that the Bamasaba say they also need scholarships. Omkuka has also, we have also constructed an annex here, about 50 million shillings a house. We have been moving in communities, in schools, especially me, because I was instructed by His Highness and his cabinet to move in schools and talk to learners about drug use, drug consumptions, discourage them from involvement in crime and other violent behavior. So I've moved in all schools. I recently wrote a report to the PS, Minister of Local Government, and rather Minister of Education. And in the letter, I've put in a recommendation that we moved in Mbale High School. We established that the leadership of the school is teaching Lumasaba as a language. Mbale SS, they are teaching Lumasaba as what? Language. As a language. Busiu SS, they are teaching Lumasaba as a language. Bulati SS, Lumasaba as a language. We are now asking the Minister of Government, Minister of Education, to support all these other schools who are reluctant to teach Lumasaba because of either finance or other constraints, to ensure that the Lumasaba language is taught in all these schools across this region. Is it examined
on UNEB level?
It is on the syllabus, but there's no line, there's no text finance, the budget line. So many of these schools are struggling to pay the teachers locally. So we want the government to have a payroll to put these teachers.
Have you tried to make effort to talk to either the Minister for Education and Sports or some?
No, we wrote. We just wrote and say these are our discoveries, and we requested that they are able to support these schools so that all these teachers who are teaching and are not on the payroll, they are put on what? On a payroll. Because IU is teaching degrees in Lumasaba. IU, yes. You do, for example, a degree in education, Lumasaba as a language. There's also, I'm told, a degree in Lumasaba itself. So those innovative protocols need learners to keep flowing from here to there. So when you enter an office, you use Lumasaba. Lumasaba should be recommended.
The president is coming,
yes,
to Masaba land.
Yes.
And on 8th is actually you guys are preparing. First of all, how are you preparing for him? And also number two, couldn't this be part of the things that you ask him in his presence?
Yes, of course, as a cultural institution, we welcome the president because he's coming as he's politicking, he's looking for votes. So for us,
He's campaigning, not politicking.
He's campaigning. Yeah, politicking, yes, campaigning is politicking. You are telling people your manifesto, what you have done and what
The context might be perceived differently.
Yeah. So we welcome him as a cultural institution. We also want to appeal to our people that when His Excellency or the President comes to talk to them, they should be welcome. They shouldn't exhibit manners that are not sanctioned by the cultural institution, like abuse, like what. So we want him, he's our visitor. This is our land. The President steps here, this is our land. We encourage Bamasaba to receive him warmly, like how they have received the other political
leaders,
leaders.
presidential candidates.
Yes. We want them to, his teams, the NRM chair and chairman and others, to welcome him, the Bamasaba to welcome him. And whoever has any issue for guidance, to put to His Excellency, please, they are right to do so. For us as a cultural institution, some of our issues, we want to ensure that things like roads are worked on. We have seen Bududa, there was a strike, almost a near strike, with no vote, no road, no vote. So we want such areas to be handled. It's also good that...
have you, as a Bamasaba cultural institution, have you ever been to Bududa and tried to facilitate some development there?
As a cultural institution, yes, we have been there, we have moved schools, but in the context of real development, we don't have resources. We do supplementary work. Yeah. Tell people, embrace government programs, go for health, we do this and what have you. Use PDM reasonably. We have used the media, we have also gone there physically to interact through our clan components when we are moving in the communities. But the point is that when the president comes here, we want him to interest himself with the issues of Masaba land. Of course, there will be a series of petitions presented to him.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate Nafeto Yanzan.